My biggest mistake was my voice trembles remembering you because every breath you touched still carries the warmth of hope that never belonged to me. I walk through empty moments where your shadow still lingers, soft but sharp enough to wound every thought that tried healing. I chose you with trembling faith, with hands open like desert sky, with a heart that believes storms could also be gentle blessings. I chose you when silence warned me, when nights whispered subtle fear, when destiny felt slightly uneven, yet I kept walking toward you, blindfolded by my own loyalty. My biggest mistake wasn't loving, it was believing you felt equally. It was trusting the reflection of you instead of the reality of you. Your words were calm oceans, but your actions were sinking ships. Your promises held warm fragrance, but disappeared with morning light. You taught me the taste of illusion, how affection can mimic devotion, how attention can impersonate love, how presence can hide emptiness. I learned that tenderness from you was borrowed, not given freely, temporary, not eternal, conditional, not pure. Still, I stood there willingly, offering pieces of my spirit, placing soft emotions on your palms, waiting for you to protect them. But you let them fall carelessly. Not because you were cruel, but because I was replaceable. I was an option, never a home. My biggest mistake was choosing you over myself, my peace, my worth, my inner voice that whispered, "Stop," but I silenced it for your smile. I gave you loyalty you never asked for, time you never valued, dreams you never shared, and a heart you never held. You were a beautiful distraction, rare enough to admire, dangerous enough to destroy, a desert mirage, shining from afar, vanishing when approached closely, a poem without meaning, a promise without direction, a touch without intention. You were never mine, not even in the smallest way. I love the idea of you, the possibility of you, the version I created of you, the one that never existed. Maybe that was my real mistake. Choosing the dream instead of truth, choosing fantasy over clarity, choosing longing over logic. But love is blind in its innocence, and mine was blinder than most. You walked away effortlessly, while I gathered my broken silence, stitched my scattered pieces, and taught myself to breathe again. Pain became my teacher, loneliness became my refuge, healing became my quiet victory. Now, when I look back, I do not hate you, because even mistakes bring wisdom. You taught me what I deserve by showing me everything I didn't. You taught me my own worth by never recognizing it yourself. And today, with steady calm, I whisper this truth without trembling. My biggest mistake was choosing you, but my greatest strength was finally choosing myself. I wish I could say that the story ended gently, that the pain faded quietly, that your absence healed gracefully. But truth rarely wears softness. Truth arrives uninvited, sits heavily on the heart, and whispers things we avoided for far too long. You were the chapter I kept rereading in darkness, searching for meaning inside a book that held none. I tried to polish your silence, shape it into comfort, pretend it was love when it was only emptiness, decorated with my own hope. You gave me glimpses, never presence. You gave me moments, never commitment. You gave me excitement, never security. You gave me attention, never intention. I kept accepting crumbs, thinking they were affection, kept accepting pauses, thinking they were depth, kept accepting confusion, thinking it was destiny. But destiny is not confusing. Love is not unclear. People who choose you do not hesitate. People who care for you do not disappear. People who value never let you question your own worth. I thought choosing you was courage, but now I see it was self abandonment. I abandoned my peace to protect your distance. I abandoned my truth to honor your silence. I abandoned my needs to justify your neglect. You were the storm I called shelter. You were the wound I named devotion. You were the chaos I mistook for passion. You were the end I treated like a beginning. I waited for you in days that never changed, in nights that never healed, in hours that never belonged to me. I waited for love in a place where love never existed. Your heart was never home. It was a temporary room, one I decorated with dreams, one you never planned to stay in, one I hoped you'd claim someday, but you never did. You moved freely while I stood frozen. You lived lightly while I carried everything. You loved conveniently while I loved completely. You were not cruel, just careless. Careless with my hope, careless with my sincerity, careless with the way I held you in every breath. Like a fragile miracle, I tried to understand you, justify you, forgive you, explain you. But in truth, you were simple. It was me who complicated you with my imagination. You were never the ocean. You were a shallow tide that looked deep in mood